This is one of the strangest clocks in the world. It shows a man stuck behind the face who paints on every minute of every hour in the day. It's an art installation by Martin Boss, who projected a 12-hour recording of himself onto the front of it. There's even a projection of himself on the back.
Color Theory 101. Shade is when you add black to your color. Tint is when you add white to your color. And tone is when you add gray to your color. So I'm going to use shade, tint, and tone to fill in this cherry with just using red. And then changing the value on it by adding black, white, and gray.
This is great. It's a great day off. No, dude!
Sup, little beach?
Dude, life's a beach and you're here, dude!
Whew, that was a long day. Thank God I can finally...
Hey man, has anyone seen my pliers? Or my tool belt? Or my square? Donde está my shit?
There. Fantastic. Let me see it.
No, wait, I changed my mind.
I'm sure what you've written is fine. Just let me see.
No, don't look. It's not ready.
Scanning. Control. Manipulate scientific data. Take over. Blast. Control. World government. Shut down infrastructure. Ship everything to China.
You might recognize this painting, The Girl with a Pearl Earring, but did you know the story of this girl is haunting? Her name is Florique Rimjiek. She was only 19 years old when Dutch artist Johannes Vermeer painted her. But Johannes wanted the painting to depict an imaginary girl, so he murdered Florique and tried to cover up her existence. He did it very successfully. Many art scholars still believe this painting to be an imaginary woman, but recently Dutch historians have found evidence of the girl's existence through diary entries and other paintings of a similar-looking girl.
Three, two, one, go.
Does anyone else have like an art history fact that like since you've heard it, you haven't been able to stop thinking about it? This art history fact, well, it's actually a theory. It has not left my brain. I think about it all the time. So we all know the Venus of Willendorf statues, but if you don't know, they're prehistoric fertility statues. Most notably, they don't have faces and have very exaggerated proportions. There's a bunch of these beautiful ladies. They're found all over the place. I'm a big fan. So what people mostly assume is that men sculpted these as sort of their ideal female form at the time. But the truth of the matter is, we don't have any idea. There's truly no way to know for sure who sculpted these. But there's a theory that women actually sculpted these by looking down at their own bodies, which would explain the weird proportions. And these photos of women from their perspective of them looking down at themselves were compared with the statues. And they match up so well, it's uncanny. And their proportions look really weird, unless you're looking down at yourself. I just think that's so cool. And I believe it. It's like a prehistoric self-portrait. It also makes sense why they don't have faces or heads.
Authenticity is a very big deal in the art world. A lot of artists wanting to be original and not inspired by anybody else. This Instagram account, Who's Who, shows how nuanced that idea really is though, by showing side-by-side photos of two different artists with very similar work. And there are lots of examples. I'm curious to know what you think, but my thoughts on the subject are that I think a lot of people want to be original, kind of just for the appeal of like, I am the first. But the reality is, when you pull from things like art history, or you live in a world that's as capitalist as we are today, where you're constantly consuming visual media, that like the concept of like, oh well, I'm not inspired by anybody, even though I consume so much stuff all the time, there's no way I'm pulling from anything else. Unless you live under a rock, it's just a little unrealistic. There's also a very big difference between copying someone and being inspired, but that's for a different video.
Let's talk about art theory. You may have heard that different colors elicit specific emotional or even physical responses. For instance, fast food logos often incorporate the color red because it makes you more hungry. This is not only true for color, but also for line and shape. In Creative Illustration by Andrew Loomis, he talks about how you can also use lines to elicit emotional and physical responses. For instance, this painting by Gustave Courbet feels calm and tranquil because it incorporates horizontal lines. Now look closely at the lines that Edvard Munch uses in The Scream. You'll notice that they're jagged and uneven, which gives a feeling of chaos and anxiety. Here's a couple more examples of different types of lines you might see. So next time you go to an art gallery, think about what types of lines the artist is using. You might just learn something new. Smack that follow button for more art videos.
If you've been on social media in the past few years, there's a chance you've seen someone take a selfie with a Yayoi Kusama installation. For some context, this is the artist Yayoi Kusama. She works in a variety of mediums, and a lot of her work reflects her experience with mental illness. One of the most notable aspects of her work is its repetitive nature, and how physically immersive her installations can be, often inviting viewers to roam about the space freely. Now, the artist has been doing work like this for decades now, but recently there's been a lot of controversy in terms of her infinity mirror rooms. The controversy revolving around these selfies. Now, the artist had been doing works like these and had never been an issue before, but suddenly people were lining around the block of museums and galleries to take a selfie. That's right, people started to gather by the hundreds just to get this perfect selfie, even sometimes not even knowing who the artist was. Someone even tripped while trying to get a selfie and caused a lot of damage. Art critics began to rave about this selfie phenomenon and began saying that it's cheapening the artwork and making it less of an experience. I'm curious to know what you think.
You've probably seen this thing all over your For You page, so I wanted to explain what's going on. This is an art exhibit that was made in 2016 called Can't Help Myself. It's a giant robotic arm that's only purpose is to sweep up this red liquid on the floor. It's been continuously doing this since 2016, and it's only been getting sadder and sadder to watch. Because at the beginning, it looked pretty nice, everything was clean, and now everything's just like a mess, which I think is what the artist wanted. And the way this thing moves and the sound of the metal screeching almost makes it seem like it has real human emotions.
Every now and then, come and take my hand for every little lie.
POV, you're drawing a body, then you get to the hands.
Let the bodies.
They found a world where they seemingly have no problems.
Check it.
Okay, listen, yo, I'm like, back in the day, me and you, baby, we used to have fun.
Squishy, come here, Squishy. Come here, little Squishy. Ow!
Dory, that's a jellyfish!
Bad Squishy, bad Squishy.
It's a hard knock
さcrazy ベランベラン夜行性の花びら違う服着て君の前では男子のふりする背景ドクタードゥランドゥラン迎えに来てください顔も知らない誰かにとって僕はもうヴィラン
My name is Gabby Gabby, and this is my very good friend, Vincent.
Oh, Woody, pleasure to meet you.
Well, it's nice to meet you, Woody. And you are?
This is Forky.
I'm trash.
Only artists will understand.